Everybody's got the story backwards. Ask a random person on the street which dog they'd trust to guard a house, and Pitbull comes up first almost every time, usually with a comment about locking jaws or pit fighting, or something they half remember from a news segment 15 years ago. Wrong dog. It's not close. I'll say the uncomfortable part up front instead of dragging it out for retention. The Pitbull was, quite literally, bred out of guarding your house. Not accidentally, on purpose, by name, with culling involved. And the Rottweiler was bred for almost the exact opposite job. That's the whole video really. Everything else is just explaining how something so widely believed got so completely flipped. Start with the Pitbull, because the history there is the part nobody wants to sit with. Once bull baiting got banned in England in the 1830s, breeders crossed bulldogs with terriers to build a dog for the pit. It meant a handler standing inches away from two fighting dogs, needing to reach in, grab his own animal by the hindquarters, and pull it out mid-fight without losing a finger. A dog that turned on the handler in that moment was worthless. Worse than worthless. So breeders selected hard against human aggression, generation after generation. Puppies that snapped at people got culled before they ever saw a pit. What survived was a dog wired to go all in against another dog and stay completely soft toward the person standing over it. That's not a rumor or a PR spin from rescue groups. It's the actual mechanism of how the breed got built. So when someone tells you a pit bull is a natural home protector, they're describing a trait the breed was deliberately bred away from for roughly a century. A pit bull's default read on a stranger walking through the front door isn't threat assessment. It's new friend, please notice me. Ask anyone who's fostered one. Ask my cousin in Bakersfield, whose pit bull greeted a burglar in 2019 by bringing him a tennis ball. True story, and not even a funny outlier. That's closer to breed standard behavior than the menacing stereotype is. Now the Rottweiler. Completely different assignment from day one. Roman legions supposedly used the ancestors of this breed to drive and guard cattle on the march through the Alps. And once they landed in the German town of Rottweiler, local butchers kept using them the same way, walking livestock into market and famously guarding the money on the way home. There's an old story about butchers tying a coin purse around the dog's neck after selling their cattle, trusting the animal to get that purse home untouched. Robbers apparently learned to leave those dogs alone. That's not a guard dog by accident. That's a guard dog by 500 years of specific, deliberate selection for exactly the trait the pit bull was bred out of. A Rottweiler's factory setting is wariness. Not aggression, wariness. And that distinction matters more than people give it credit for. A well-bred, well-raised Rottweiler doesn't rush a stranger. It watches. It positions itself between the stranger and the family without being told to. It waits to see what happens next before deciding anything. That's the temperament every serious breed description keeps landing on. Calm until there's a reason not to be, then completely unwilling to back down. It's also, frankly, a pain to live with if you weren't ready for it. A Rottweiler puppy that isn't properly socialized from 8 weeks old can grow into an adult that treats every guest like a threat, which is its own kind of liability. This isn't a pick the guard dog and stop thinking about it situation. It's a dog that needs the socialization done right, on a schedule, by someone who won't skip it because the puppy's being cute that week. Here's where I have to complicate my own argument, because it'd be dishonest not to. None of this means pit bulls are somehow safer or lower risk pets than Rottweilers. They're not soft dogs. A pit bull's dog aggression, the part that was intentionally kept and sharpened, is very real and very trainable around, but never fully erased. Introduce one badly to another dog, and that history is sitting right there under the surface. And their attachment to their own people can look a lot like guarding from the outside, even when it isn't. A pit bull that puts itself between you and a stranger is usually doing it out of anxious devotion, not threat evaluation. And those two things produce different outcomes under pressure. So don't walk away thinking pit bull equals harmless. It's a different risk profile, not a lower one. Size gets brought into this argument constantly, and it barely matters. A male Pitbull tops out around 60 to 70 pounds. A male Rottweiler can push past 130. Sounds decisive, until you remember that size correlates with how much damage a dog can do once a bite happens, not with whether the dog decides to bite in the first place. The decision-making, the actual guarding instinct, lives in temperament and breeding history, not in the number on the scale. I used to think size was the whole story too, back when I knew a lot less about this than I do now. Living with either one day to day looks pretty different, and I don't think that gets said enough either. Pit bulls have a short single coat, so shedding is manageable, and there's no undercoat blowing out twice a year to vacuum out of your couch cushions. Rottweilers do have that undercoat, and depending on climate, it comes out in clumps come spring, which is its own small tax on ownership nobody mentions in the cute puppy videos. On leash, Rottweilers tend towards steady and businesslike once trained, walking like they've got somewhere to be. Pit bulls pull harder early on out of sheer enthusiasm, and that strength paired with an untrained handler is a rougher combination than people expect from a 65-pound dog. Neither breed is a great fit for a first-time owner who wants something low maintenance. Both want a person who will actually do the work, instead of assuming good behavior shows up on its own. Apartment living tilts toward the pit bull, mostly because of size and because Rottweilers are notoriously suspicious of the 50 new smells and sounds that come with dense hallway living. A young couple in a 2-bedroom walk-up is probably signing up for less stress with the smaller, more socially loose dog. A family with a big yard and the patience for a slower, more deliberate socialization process is exactly who the Rottweiler was built for, going back to those alpine cattle drives. They're just answers to different questions. There's a cost to the Rottweiler's guarding instinct that almost never makes it into these comparison videos, and it's not behavioral, it's biological. Rottweilers average somewhere around 9 to 10 years, sometimes topping out near 12 with a healthy line and good luck. Pit bulls, on the flip side, commonly reach 12 to 14, sometimes longer. Bone cancer is disproportionately common in Rottweilers, osteosarcoma specifically, and it's frequently the thing that ends up cutting a Rottie's life short in its senior years. So the breed that comes factory loaded with the instinct you actually want in a home guardian is also, on average, the breed you get to keep the shortest amount of time. Nobody puts that trade-off on the adoption paperwork. Separation anxiety splits along similar lines, and it's worth knowing before either dog ends up alone in your apartment for 9 hours. Pit bulls attach hard to their people, sometimes hard enough that being left alone triggers real distress. Chewed door frames and a neighbor who starts complaining about barking around hour 3. Rottweilers handle solitude a little better once mature, though a Rottweiler puppy left alone too young and too often can develop the same anxious habits, just with a bigger dog doing the damage. Crate training early helps both breeds, but skipping it is a bigger gamble with either one than owners tend to expect going in. If you want the blunt version, get a Rottweiler if what you actually need is a dog that reads a room and decides for itself whether tonight is a normal night. Get a pit bull if what you want is a dog that will love your kids with its whole chest, tolerate almost anything from them, and occasionally hand an intruder a tennis ball. Both are the right choice for somebody. They're just not the same choice, no matter how many action movies taught you otherwise. The dog everyone's afraid of on sight was bred on purpose to never be the threat in the room. The dog nobody's afraid of on sight was bred on purpose to be exactly that. Sit with that for a second before you decide which one belongs on your porch.